inherited will, the destiny of the age and the dreams of the people. As long as people continue to pursue the meaning of freedom, these things will never cease to be. Gol D. Roger. After almost 25 years of One Piece's birth, Eiichiro Oda has achieved the number of 1,000 episodes. Since this mangaka has proved through the series, he is indeed a number freak, due to his obsession with big reveals or relevant moments in those chapters falling on hundreds. As a consequence of this, there has been lately a lot of theories regarding what could be the best fitting event of this episode. The first appearance of Dr. Vegapunk along with the alternative weapon to the infamous Shichibukai. Sabo is rescued by the Revolutionary Army, interrupted by the unfortunate arrival of Blackbeard. A Magikarp-like Kaido mourning the death of his captain Frog D. Shebek, or a new hint about the D's lineage meaning, were the most frequent topics in Reddit and YouTube. Being the last one the most likely to actually happen, when I scrolled through the whole episode and the revelation about the D wasn't there, I felt relieved. I know most fans wanted to know it, but to me, the meaning of the D, the One Piece treasure, and the whereabouts of Laughdale Island are the three main things I would not like to know about if it's not through Luffy's eyes. To say this might sound a little too edgy, especially when the Reverie and Zeus Venom flashback are some of my favorite moments in the last years, and you can infer Luffy is not there in those situations. But for those emblematic and specific discoveries, to me, I should experience them portrayed through Luffy's eyes. Moving to the episode, the beginning of this chapter with the main Mink squad welcoming Luffy at the foot of the stairs was a nice touch. The fact that both the three musketeers, Rhodey and Back Black, got in the path to Luffy were told by him how impressive was to protect Raizo from Jack. To take this revenge possible was very emotional. I think if Pedro was there, he would have cried with Sicilian seeing how his efforts paid off, and the Ninja Pirate Mink Samurai Alliance is finally at the gates of the dawn of a new world. The scene moves to a fully transformed Marco catching King and Queen off guard. A downed phoenix grabbing a pterodactyl and a Gatling Gangton Brachiosaurus with a mechanized neck. Seriously, Oda, what do you smoke? I mean, the finest part about this is to imagine those power level addicts smashing the keyboards and forums for months, rumbling about Marco being overpowered and King and Queen being mere fodders instead of shifting the focus to the fact that Queen's cyberneck entails he is a Frankenstein-like doctor, as we could already predict from his previous displayed weapon, the zombifying gun. And also the fact that Shirohige's and Kaido's crews have not ever clashed in the past since Rock's disintegration. Otherwise, the Beast's pirates first commanders would have already known about the regenerative properties of Marco's Devil Fruit. While our bird-dinosaur battle begins, Zoro's been yeeted through the roof, so he'll be in the final battle. As a sort of fanboy that I am, I couldn't be happier about it. The next pages of this episode, even though they can't be expectable, they rate my emotions in the best possible way. The way Yamato hands over the diary to Momo with a stoic smile, the book with the tales and adventures of Kozuki Oden, and that little tear in Momonosuke's face was a truly necessary moment. Because with this, the most important thing in this chapter started. And that is the reason why this YouTube video has this specific title and illustration. This illustration represents a mixture of chapters 585 and 966. In both chapters, respectively, we find a similar scene, Luffy and Roger telling Ace and Sabo in Luffy's case and Whitebeard and Oden in Roger's one about the dream they'd like to achieve. In both cases are taken with a mixture of astonishment and incredulity, followed by a burst of love to that ridiculous announcement. Even though all One Piece readers have wondered at least once, do these two similar scenes mean that Luffy said the exact same words, It's not crazy to think that, after all, Shanks visited Rayleigh some time after losing his arm for Luffy's sake and told him that he said the same as Captain Roger did. But the important conclusion the chapter is giving us about this is not only another hint about Luffy saying the same words the King of the Pirates said. It's Luffy saying exactly the same words that made Oden feel the bewitching urge to be a Nakama in Roger's ship and set sail to the end of the world with the King of the Pirates. This revelation is introduced to us through an unforeseen panel of Yamato crying. He was dared by Ace to not laugh as he had gone off the tongue for being too drunk. But the reaction was the opposite to what he expected. And for me, this was magic. As Oden was captivated by Roger's words and wished to have Roger as his captain, Yamato was in a similar way captivated by Luffy's words. I think this revelation, being exactly in the chapter 1000, might be the hint of Yamato wishing to go to the end of the world with his captain Luffy, being him the last Nakama of the journey. I've seen a lot of posts about chapter 999 being called the Sake Brewed to Drink With You, and chapter 1000 being called Straw Hat Luffy might be a hint of Yamato believing in Ace's words, because the sake I brewed while waiting for you is a reference of a poem of someone who is expecting someone else in a long wait. And as a Yamato fan since day one, I'm in. Just imagine his sown fruit being a dragon and him guarding the Senego ship from the skies. Then a really cute moment is presented to us. Ace thinks that Roger is a very cool guy and he'll get along with Luffy. These words are only possible because Yamato didn't reveal the real name of that mysterious pirate, Roger, the father that he despises. I laughed reading this part with the joy of a kid. I never thought Oda would give us this present. I've seen a lot of fan art of Roger, Portgas de Rouge and Ace all together in the last years, and this scene was pure gold to me. No pun intended. After this conversation sequence, to me the chapter became not only a Monkey D. Luffy tribute, but also a Joy Boy tribute and the torrent of blood Luffy carries for the D legacy. He arrives to the roof, walks past through the two emperors, completely ignoring them. His eyes are only focused on his friends. A devastated Kinemon asks him to carry on his shoulders the burden of the story of Wano. To me, this was Oda doing magic with his story. I remembered Whitebeard in his last words in Marineford. Just as there are some who inherited Roger's will, someone will eventually do the same for Ace. You can sever bloodlines, but the flames will never be extinguished. It has been passed down like that since ancient times. Someday one will arise who will change the world and shoulder centuries of history. Luffy, since his inception, has been carrying the burden of the people he has met through his short but intense pirate history. I remember how Joy Boy couldn't keep his promise to the mermaid princess of the past, Poseidon, but Luffy did a promise to Shirahoshi. Listened with her to the Sea Kings when they were stopping the Noah. He listened to them just as Roger did, and Joy Boy did too. I'm sure of that. I remember chapter 968 when Oden claimed in his diary that he must open Wano borders before Joy Boy arrives. Joy Boy? Is that possible? He lived 800 years ago. My conclusion, as an open idea about this, is that both characters have appeared today in this episode, Monkey D. Luffy and Joy Boy. As Luffy accepts Kinemon's request of saving the kingdom, as he's been doing since Momonosuke asked in Zoo Island. Kaido, tired of waiting and enduring so much insolence from a mere rookie, lifts his club and prepares to deliver a strike. Even such a threat as Kaido's head is ignored by Luffy, only to request Law to bail Kinemon and the rest of the Scarabs out of the battlefield. Law's determination to end of the Yonko is proven by his swift performance making use of the OP-OP no Mi to move the Scarabs out of the danger instantaneously, easing Luffy's next move. As soon as his friends are not endangered by the two Yonkos, he proceeds to unveil a new move, Gomu Gomu no Red Frog. With this final strike and claiming that he will be the king of the pirates, just as he did in the very first chapter of this manga and during all his life, this episode ends. I'm sincerely emotional about how One Piece Manga 1000 has turned out to be. I've been caught up with the manga, reading it weekly since Zoro begged bowing his head to Mihawk for Luffy's sake. And that was more than 10 years ago. And now that I'm in my road to 27 years old, Wano is the arc that has encouraged me to create a YouTube channel and throw every tangling of emotions and thoughts this story is able to create in me. I'm happy to have been present in this historic moment for manga. Throughout all these years, I've made loads of friends in the internet and also kept in touch with my hometown friends IRL. All this thanks to this masterpiece. 1000 chapters is an amazing achievement for Eiichiro Oda. He has created a vast, lively world that has never ceased to amaze me, constantly adding new mysteries, making me daydream about the solution to all of them. I've literally grown reading this manga, and I can tell my life wouldn't be the same without it. It helps me to abstract myself when society and life overwhelms me.